You want proof that mind training works, right? Awesome. I'll give you exactly that today. Let me tell you about this girl who I will call Lily for the sake of her privacy. But Lily is not the star of the show, and I am getting ahead of myself. And if you want to see lots of other examples of what my students have achieved as they learned how to train their minds, then just comment mind down below and I'll send you a free guide with 85 pages. So let me go back to the start to paint you the full picture. Lily was diagnosed with severe misophonia at the age of 11. And if you were to Google that, which I really encourage you not to do, that you'd see that it's classified as an autism spectrum disorder. I'll explain why that Googling is detrimental to your health later on. And it's worth sticking around for that because I'm going to break down the massive distinction between what you think healing is and how it actually works. Lily's misophonia made her react with rage, panic, and terror to everyday sounds. There were 10 different experts who said that this condition was incurable. They all said it'll only get worse, but they were wrong because Lily is going to college as we speak, which was completely unthinkable only a year ago. She's back to her normal, witty, wonderful self at the age of 21. She eats dinner with her entire family at the same table, and she went on holiday with them as a group for the first time in years this past summer. There was no rage and no awkward silences and no walking on eggshells. And Lily cried at the dinner table the first night. This time, they were happy tears because her mind had stopped tormenting her, which any person alive should be able to relate to. Her mom cried too, and so did I when I read Lily's story. This is what real healing looks like. It's rarely flashy. It happens gradually, and it has the power to change everything, like magic, except that it's not. And here's the coolest part about this particular case. Lily didn't do anything to heal. Her mom did. And she is actually the star of the show. And this is her hero's journey. This story changes the way people think about healing entirely. And it pulls at my own heartstrings a bit more than usual, because I saw how my own mother suffered when she watched me suffer. So this video is a tribute to all the parents out there who are dealing with a sick child without knowing what to actually do about it or how to make things better. It was Lily's mom who caused an effect through the power of her own mind. Call it a miracle. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a result of taking some pill or doing hypnotherapy. It was a mix of intentionality, mind training, and that thing that connects us all on an invisible level. And I've been dying to tell you the full story. Lily started struggling when she was 11. By 13, family dinners were over. Vacations were impossible. The house became silent and tense. The family members walked on eggshells for years. Summers were unbearable. The sound of one person breathing too loudly could abruptly end the evening, and the sound of cutlery against a porcelain bowl would drive Lily insane. She was hypersensitive to sounds, and it was very tricky to deal with it and to live a normal life in the midst of it. Lily's mom, who's part of Helpings, which is my mind training community, was exhausted. She was convinced that her family wouldn't come together again, ever. And then she found the work that I teach. So here's what Lily's mom did. First, she started with the basics, which is what every new student learns inside my foundational mind training course. She stuck with it like a boss, month after month after month, often hiding in a wardrobe, talking to me in a low voice with headphones on so that she wouldn't make any loud noises. And there was one particular lesson inside the program that finally reinforced something she had already known to be true, and that one lesson offered her another perspective that made the whole thing click, which is also when everything started to make sense. And she doubled down on that and worked on it for 7 months with ferocious passion. Now, this is what I really want you to pay attention to. My student didn't really use any of it on her daughter. She used it on herself and on her own mind. That's what most people do wrong. They try fixing other people, and it's exactly what I did before I got the memo. So, Lily's mom trained her own mind. She observed her own thoughts. She changed her own beliefs every single day with her eyes open. She took full responsibility for her perception, which is the only way something can actually change. And in that way, she caused a different effect through her mind, quietly, gradually, and then all at once. Boom! So let's talk about how Lily healed. Everyone always asks me how you actually heal. Spell it out for me, will ya? Lily didn't journal, at least not as far as I'm aware of. She did what any normal 20-year-old would do. In other words, she didn't train her mind. Lily's mom, on the other hand, who is my student, trained her own adult mind. That is what this work is all about. And this next point is one of the biggest aha moments that you will have once you start seeing things clearly. You must take your attention off the problem, which may well be your child. And then the problem might just go away, which is exactly what happened to Lily. No one forced her to get better. No one made her change. One person changed her mind, and the ripple effect was undeniable. Because let's be honest, talking about what's wrong gives us an identity. It gets us attention, and it even forms connections based on whatever the problem seems to be. Misery loves company until you realize that it's costing you your life. Now, it's already been a few months. Lily is still relaxed, smiling, joking around, excited about going to college. And the whole family dynamic has changed. Not because Lily's mom spent hours on Google looking up misophonia, although now that I say that out loud, I'm pretty sure she did exactly that to begin with, just like any other worried parent would do, until she had listened to all the experts who said the condition was incurable. 10 different experts said exactly the same thing, at which point she felt like she had run out of options. And now we've reached that point where I want to reveal the real reason why I told you not to Google any of your symptoms earlier in this video. So allow me to explain the basics of mind training for you so that you can start making some actual changes in your own life in order to heal and change anything that is making you miserable right now. If you've watched my YouTube videos for a while, there are currently around 100 available for you for free. Then you've probably heard me say, your thoughts create your reality. People are fascinated by that sentence. They eagerly print it on t-shirts and wear it with pride, but very few actually understand what it means. And every single student, every single one I've ever worked with has had the same epiphany, which is what I call a stepiphany, at some point during their time inside Helpings. I'll make it so simple for you that you'll never forget it. Ready? Everything you want can be placed into two distinctly opposite piles or buckets: what you want and what you don't want. Let's look at some examples of what you want. To stand up without pain shooting up your spine. To watch your child eat anything she wants with delight. To order the nicest piece of steak without worrying about how much it costs in a restaurant or what it's going to do to your digestion. To wake up joyful after a good night's sleep. And to walk into any room with curiosity and ease. Pretty relatable, right? Okay, now we're going to balance the scales by running through examples of the things you don't want. The cancer in your body or the mole on your skin. The work colleagues you dread seeing every day. The long line of awful first dates that keep getting worse. The weather. It's global warming and cooling all at once. And all the idiots cutting in front of you while you're in traffic. Can you see where I am going with this? Now, I obviously don't know anything about you, but I know that the majority of people and everyone I've ever worked with talks and thinks about what they don't want 90% of the day. This may result in your ego going absolutely ballistic on me. I'm willing to take that risk. You're probably thinking, what do you mean that I'm negative and that I think negative thoughts about everyone around me, myself included, all day long? Yeah. Exactly. Stay away from typing right now if you have any self-preservation left within you. I get it. We all have lots of opinions about stuff, and it's easy to have those opinions if you just look around you. But here's the problem. If you accept the notion that your thoughts create your reality, and you spend your day thinking and talking about your disease, Googling it, and hanging out with people on your lunch break, talking about everything that annoys you at work, then how can you expect any of that to change? Your thoughts create your reality. You're holding so-called reality in front of you in a deadlock state by focusing on it relentlessly, while also being pissed off at anyone and anything around you because nothing seems to be changing. And that's especially difficult to handle when medical professionals and doctors tell you that your daughter's insufferable condition is incurable and that it can and will only get worse. So everyone isn't going to love what I just said because people love data, details, and any form of diagnosis and facts. My God, the facts. People tell me, Stephanie, that's just the way things are. And I beg to differ. They are the way they are because you believe them to be true and you choose to stare at all the proof of a belief that you've formed over the years. It can be confronting to realize that your thoughts and your beliefs are more powerful than you ever imagined. That said, here's the good news. When you change your mind, the world around you changes. Sometimes instantly, sometimes over time, but always, always from the inside out. Lily is living proof of that, and so is her mother. This is what happens when someone finally stops looking outside themselves and quits staring at the so-called problem. Lily's mom is my heroine, with an E. She's exactly the kind of person I love working with because she does the work and she really gets it. Not only that, she also lives by the principles that I teach, which is why she managed to achieve the impossible. She was relentless in her efforts, and it's safe to say that it paid off. Right now, there might be parents all over the internet who have heard exactly what they needed to hear, that there is hope. I never make any promises to my students simply because I can't. I can show you the way and give you the tools, but you have to do the work using your own mind. You could start training the one thing that you can actually control today, right now. And you probably don't know just how powerful your mind is, which I would love to show you inside my foundational mind training course. And if you want to get started today, then just comment mind down below and I'll send you a free mind training guide so that you can learn exactly how this works and start training your mind right now. Which leads me to my final point, and it sums up everything I just said in one sentence. Healing occurs in right-minded thinking, meaning you have to learn how to think right-minded thoughts throughout the day if you want to heal and change. That is the only way, and I can say so with 100% conviction. It's what I teach my students every single day, and I recommend watching this video next if you want to understand why you shouldn't believe every thought you think so that you too can heal your child or yourself. Cheers to Lily's mom.